Hello and welcome to this episode of Guitar Essentials with Nate. Today we're going to be looking at fingerpicking. Now, so far we've looked at strumming, then we moved on to picking with a plectrum, and now we're going to look at picking with our fingers, or fingerpicking. Now, before we get started, it's really important for you to get your guitar balanced on your body. Now, what I mean by that is, when you're wearing your guitar, when you're sat with your guitar or stood with it if you're using a strap, you need it to be balanced in such a way that you can reach the strings with your right hand and that you can reach the frets with your left hand. And neither arm should be straining, so you shouldn't feel one arm kind of tensing more than the other. So for some people that means putting the guitar on their left leg, like the classical guitarists do. They'll have the guitar on their left leg like this. But for other people it's more over the right leg. But it's important that you find it a way of balancing it so that it's comfortable for you to be able to access both parts of the guitar. So just take a moment to get your guitar balanced and then we'll begin. Okay, so I've moved a little bit closer so you can see what my right hand is doing, and we're going to be using the same chords as before. That's G and D, and I'm going to be setting my metronome to 66 beats per minute when we start practicing. But for now I just want to show you about how to position your hands. So your right hand is going to be positioned over the strings near the sound hole, so roughly in this area just at the back of the guitar. And most of the time you're going to be playing the bass notes with your thumb. So the thumb tends to stay at the top here, and then the treble notes you're going to be using with these three fingers, so your index, middle and ring finger, and they're going to be positioned roughly over the treble strings. Now if I want to play a G chord, we know that the G chord uses all of the strings. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to play the bass note right at the bottom here, the bottom string, with my thumb. And for now, I'm just going to play these top three treble strings, so the G, the B and the E. So my index, middle and ring finger will be positioned roughly near those strings. Now if I was to play a chord or play the G chord using those fingers, it would sound like this. And what you're looking for is, when you play the notes, you don't want to kind of get under the string too much. It's just ever so lightly across the top, stroking the string. That's how you make the note. So the thumb again just lightly plucks the bottom string, and then the treble notes is one. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I was right. See that with those three fingers positioned roughly near the strings. Now we're looking for grace at this point. We don't want to be having to kind of move our hands a lot to muscle the strings. We're aiming for light touch at the moment. So don't worry about if you're making your guitar loud. The main thing at the moment is just to get a nice graceful sounding of the note. So don't worry if you're playing lightly. Now let's move on to picking. I'm going to get my metronome started. And as I say, it's set to 66 beats per minute, which seems to work right now as a kind of nice gentle speed. So if I play a pattern, I'm going to be picking the bass note, and then I'm making a combination of these top three strings in order to play a sort of sequence in time with a metronome. So let's look at playing a very basic pattern. I'll show you now to begin. 3, 4. See how I'm doing that? Let's move on to the D. Now notice when I was playing the D there, I was playing the bass note on the D string, because the D chord, you don't play all of the strings. So watch me as I do that again here. There, I begin from the D string with my thumb. But the pattern remains the same with the treble strings. I'll do it one more time. Now notice how my hand is suspended just above the strings. again, lightly at this point. We're just picking the strings lightly because accuracy and consistency is important. Okay, so that's just a very basic intro to finger picking. You can come up with your own patterns. You might want to play a different sequence of the strings, the treble strings. Find something that suits you. There's other ways of finger picking where you're playing two strings at the same time, like. But for now, just get to grips with the mechanics of using your right hand fingers to pick strings and to play a pattern, and most importantly in time with the metronome. So see how you get on. Let's do some practice. Try get your 5 for 5. 5 minutes, 5 days a week, just to begin to lock this technique in, and then we'll look at some other material pretty soon. I'll see you next time.